Good morning, y'all. It has been a very long time since I got to make a video, and I'm excited to be able to do it today. I am going to warn you that I have a terrible cough. You can probably tell by my voice that things have not been good at my house in terms of health. But if I start coughing and have to stop the video, I want to warn you that I have no idea how to merge videos. So I may have to post 3 or 4 different parts to this one, and that's okay. I'll do that if that's what I have to do. Sometimes the coughing starts and I can't seem to get it under control for a few minutes. I am in my sewing room this morning, and I thought I would try to move around a little bit at some point and show you what I have in here and how I've organized it. I watched Michelle Rudy, Farm Girl's video, and on her new redo of her sewing room, and I was just inspired. I wanted to be as organized as her. I'm not ever going to achieve that because I keep too much stuff. But I did get, I got rid of a bunch of stuff. I got rid of about 3 big bags of things. Part of my problem is that I've been a quilter for so many years, and I have all of my quilt stuff, as well as all of my cross stitch stuff. And in this particular room, I also have some other things in here. I'll show you when I get to that. Anyway, let me back up, and I'm going to talk about a couple of other things first. Some personal issues. I want to update everyone and thank you for your thoughts and your prayers. As many of you know, on Christmas Eve, my younger brother's wife passed away. She had been sick for over 4 years. She'd been on dialysis for like 4.5 years. So it was not unexpected, but the timing of it was. We were certainly hoping that she would make it into the new year, but she did not. After her service the next week, my sister Sherry, that y'all have met, Sherry and I stayed with Terry for a few days. I came home and Sherry stayed. Terry also is in very bad health. He has a bad heart. He's had over 30 stents, 35 or something like that. And he is diabetic, and he has stage 4 kidney disease from the diabetes. We're hoping to maybe correct that a little bit with his diet and his medication, but he has a lot of things going on, including some dementia that's coming from his sugar numbers being so crazy. At least that's where we think it's coming from. So, long story short, I went back down to Louisiana to stay with he and Sherry for a few more days because Sherry and I were trying to clean out, as you can imagine, and do some things for him. And Sherry got the flu, the bad flu. And being the crazy person that she is, she attempted to make the 500-mile drive home and got halfway there and had to stop. She spent a couple of nights in a motel, went to the emergency room for fluids, and finally made it home several days later. I've lost all track of time, but on the day that she left, I took Terry to the clinic to have his sugar levels checked and make some adjustments, and he too tested positive for the flu. They were both coughing horribly. And I knew I was doomed, and sure enough, I was. On Wednesday morning, I woke up with it, but also on that Wednesday morning, when I went in to try to wake up Terry, he could not respond. I thought he'd had a stroke, but it was his sugar level. It was down to 46, and for those of you that know about sugar levels, you know that was pretty critical. And I'd called an ambulance, and he went to the hospital. They sent him back home because they were so full, and I came home on Wednesday. Today's Thursday, and that was 8 days ago. His daughter and granddaughter came and are staying with him now. 8 days ago. So today is the first day that I've had on clothes or makeup or dried my hair or done any of those things, I have on earrings. I mean, honestly, y'all all know how I feel about the earring thing. Uh, I've been really sick, and the cough is horrible, horrible cough. There have been funny moments, of course. One of the evenings that I was with Terry, when his sugar level got completely crazy, he said, "Quick, Marlene, get your phone, get your phone." And I said, "What for?" I was stitching. He watches westerns literally all day long. Okay, westerns. And one night we got to watch wrestling, but the rest of the time it was those '60s westerns. And he said, "You got to call that guy right there." And I said, "What guy, honey?" And he was pointing at the television. "That guy right there. He's giving away a kid. We need a child. You need to call that man and get that child." And I said, "Well, honey, first of all, that man's not real. That man is a cowboy, and he doesn't have a phone. Cowboys don't have phones." And he looked at me and grinned and said, "Well, four-letter word. I'm going to go to bed." And I said, "Okay." So he got up and went to lock the door, his usual routine, but he fell, got tripped over his own feet, and he fell, and he hit on his shoulder. So um, if you could have seen the two of us trying to get him up, we're very blessed that he wasn't hurt any worse than he was, but the two of us trying to get him up was hysterical, because it literally took two of us and probably should have taken more than that. Okay, I'm going to move on from family stuff. Last video, I had a giveaway, and I want to announce my winners today. I'm going to put my email address in the box down below, and those of you who are winners, would you please email me so that I can get your address to mail these patterns out to you. I'm going to give it 2 weeks. Today is a Thursday, and I don't know what the date is. I don't have a clue. But a couple of weeks from now, before I move on to another. And I want to say thank you to Kelly from the Joan and Kelly Show, because she sent me a link on how to choose those. I was really struggling with how to get a random thing going. Anyway, the Liberty pattern is going to go to Barbara Nelson. Letters for Santa is going to Sheila Norton. The Gilmore House, Sharon Littlefield. Peppermint Twist to Claudia M. Needleworker to Christy Walker. October 31st to Come In and Stitch a Little. And the gingerbread, I've forgotten the name of that one, to Betty Costa. So if those of you who have won those would please email me, I'll get those out to you. And several of you have emailed me. You've been so sweet asking about the bags. I did sell all of the project bags that I had, and I have about 10 more Christmas ones cut out that were cut out before Christmas and before all the family stuff happened, that I'm going to finish up. If anybody thinks they want a Christmas one, I still will have those, and then I'll make some more to get us through the winter and into the spring, but I'll let you know about that as I get to it. Right now, I don't have the energy, unfortunately. I think on the last video, I told y'all that my sister had found for me at a thrift shop something that she got for me, and I wanted to show you. It's a triptych. I don't know how I'm going to show this off because it's not going to be easy. This is the middle. You've seen this pattern before. And it has, let's see if I can figure out what goes where. This goes to the right of this. I hope you can see that. Yeah, it goes like that. I'm sorry, there's a glare here. Because it's really pretty, and without the glare you can't. And this is the other side. As you can see, someone did some beautiful, beautiful work. Stoltz Farm. And this set of 3 pieces we got for $26. Yeah, 26. Which is a crying shame, but absolutely wonderful that I got it for that price. And then Jerry and I don't remember where we are. I have flu brain, that's what I say. And we found this piece called the Fisherman's Prayer. My husband is a fisherman. And I have a bedroom in my house that is done, that has, it's decorated for the guys. It has fishing rods and mallard duck pillows and deer bookends and I don't know, all kinds of stuff like that. So that's going to go in that room and it's going to be perfect in there. And then the last piece that I found was this one. Isn't that sweet? It is, it had the cover with it, and it was called Colonial Life, and it says, the trees were green, the sun was hot, sometimes I worked and sometimes not. Sounds like something I would say. So those were the 3 things. Now I also picked up from the thrift shop a wonderful round brass platter and a couple of other little things like that. I'm not going to try to show everything off. Frankly, I don't have enough strength to make that long a video today and get all that stuff up here for you to see. I got several Christmas presents, y'all, and I'm not going to try to show those off either. Some things were stitched, some things were sewn, some things were chosen that were just so perfect for me. I have already begun to stitch some of them. I've begun to use some of them. You know who you are, and you know that I love you, and that those are all special to me. I cried over several of them, and still do when I think about them. The work that went into those. And so thank you very much. Christmas was really special. Obviously, the Spinster Sisters put a new twist on it and have challenged us all. And I've already begun to think about next Christmas and how we can make that just as special as this one was. We'll see. I don't know. I've lost my notes. Just a minute. Aha. There we go. And one thing I especially want to say, y'all remember last time I had found those plastic envelopes at the Dollar Tree, and I'd searched everywhere for more and couldn't find more. And one of you sweet friends sent me several of those, like a dozen of them or something. So thank you. And I'm Southern, and I send thank you notes. But I know I haven't sent thank you notes on most of these. I sent some texts and I sent some emails, and I don't know who I sent them to and who I didn't, because again, I've got flu brain. I don't know what happened to me. But just know that I know that you sent those things in from your heart, and that they touched my heart, and I want to thank you for all of that. Let me talk about last year. I looked back at my statistics. I did keep a journal all year, and I had 67 starts last year. Now, y'all all know I don't do those big things. I did start a few big things, but I do a day or two on them, and then I just can't seem to get myself back to them. I'm going to work harder on that this coming year, and try harder to work on those big things. But for me, right now, the small things are working. So I had 67 starts. 2 of them I gave up on. Completely gave up, took the stitching out, put all the stuff back into my stash, and decided I didn't like them well enough. I wasn't going to stitch them. I had 50 finishes, 50. Again, many of them were small. That left me with 15 whips going into the year. I had planned to have 17 on December 31st and start number 18 on January 1st. I did in fact start a height on January the 1st, put a few stitches in, hated it because I was stitching with 2 over 2 and on a 25 count, and it was too tight and I hated it, and I put it on Stitch Mania and got so many good suggestions about what I could do. I could do the 10th stitch, I could do a half cross stitch, I could switch it over to one thread. I took all those stitches out, and then everything, I got sick, and so I haven't put anything back in there, but I will get back to it because I am determined to get that Haid started. It's fully kitted, it's ready to go, but I have so many others that are fully kitted and ready to go. I have some finishes I want to show you. I have 2 FFOs. One is this one, Letters for Santa. I put a little brass star button up here. I added a rusty safety pin right here that Michelle Rudy sent me. Thank you, Miss Michelle. And I really like the way this one has turned out, so I'm pleased with that. And then I went back and finished Oh Christmas Tree. This is a Lizzie Kate pattern. I still am looking at this one and wondering if there's not something I could do right here to jazz it up a little bit, or even something right there, but right now I'm not finding anything, so I'm just going to be okay with it like it is. And then this week I finished Bessie. Oops, I need to put something behind that. There's Bessie. Yvonne, the Night Owl Stitcher, stitched this one, and I really liked it. It came with a border, a black and white, sort of black and white, but a checkered border underneath that bottom grass. I've chosen not to do that. I just decided I didn't want to do it, so I just didn't. I don't particularly know why. Okay, that's all the finishes that I have. I'm going into the year with 3 things unfinished. Now, one of them is Needleworker, which I finished months ago. Fully finished months ago. Decided I didn't like the way I fully finished it and took it apart. So I'm going to rework that one. Home of a Needleworker is finished, but not fully finished. And then this one, which is not cross-stitch, but which is wool and embroidery, I will be making that into a pillow. So just 3 things that are not fully finished, and I think that's pretty darn good. I did buy a few patterns, and I did buy some fabric. Not going to show any of that off, but I was good. I didn't buy very much, and I'm trying very hard not to, because in the next video, I think I will try to show you what I have kitted up and ready to stitch this year. In this video, I'm going to show you the whips that I'm going into this year with. All right. The one I'm currently working on is Merry and Bright, and I am on the border. I have finished everything else, and I'm on the border, and good grief, this border, y'all. That's 1,000,000 little white stitches. 1,000,000. Maybe not 1,000,000. Maybe I exaggerate. No, I have to come back to this one. These are the next 2 starts. The next whip is Early Americans. I am ready to put Paul Revere on, and that I'm going to work on this weekend. I believe that Vanna posted this morning that we were going to work on whips this weekend. Let's see, where am I located here? See if I can see. There we go. You can see that. I have finished the first 5, and we'll be adding Paul Revere in that spot for the stitch along. I'm really not very good at stitch alongs either, but I am going to try to follow that one and get it done. One of the things that I got for Christmas this year was from Olivia and Elena B. They sent me this sweet pattern that Elena got in Paris. Is that not the cutest thing? It's just precious. But let me just tell y'all, it doesn't look like it, but this doggone thing is confetti heavy. Very confetti heavy. And this is how far I've gotten on it. They sent me the needle minder too. Isn't that perfect? I have finished the little girl and am beginning on the basket that's on the bottom. I don't remember what this fabric is, but it's nowhere near what theirs looks like on there, but I just liked it. So it's a natural linen, and it's a really loose weave. Not having any problem with that, just with keeping up with the colors. This is my next whip, Plum Street, Judge Not, and I am working on the first sheep. There you go, the first one. This is a fun thing to stitch, and I'm looking forward to getting back to this one. What is that, number 3? Okay. This is number 4. Kathleen from Kathleen's Trodden Trail sent me this pattern from Country Cottage, and it is Let Us Rejoice. And this is where I am. This needle minder a little bit. There we go. This is how far I've gotten on this one. And actually, this one's pretty fast. I think once I really start working on this, I'm going to try 3 days, a 3-day rotation on these things. But I think once I really get started working on that one, it's going to go real fast. The next one that I'm working on is from Little House Needleworks, and it's the Tree Lot, which many of you have done or have at least seen. I'm doing it on the dotted Swiss fabric, and that's how far I've gotten on that one. I like it on this fabric. I like it a lot. I'm not doing these as one piece. I'm going to do individual ones. Is anybody counting? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was number 5. I'm still working on Ebenezer's Christmas. I'm not too worried about this one because, hey, it's January. And I have plenty of time to finish it before Christmas. I've gotten quite a bit done on it, actually. This little needle minder Dina sent me, Dina Hudgens. So, see, I'm down really about 2/3, I guess. 2/3 of the way on this one. So I'm very pleased with the progress, and it will be ready before next Christmas. So that's a good thing. I believe that was number 6. Let freedom ring. I know, y'all. I have to get back to it. But again, it's one of those big ones. Whoops, dropped some of the pattern. It's one of those big ones. I just find them so intimidating, I guess, because it just seems like it's going to be forever before I get anything done. I started in the upper left-hand corner, and I'm working on the flowers. I think that might be sideways. I think it might go this way. Yeah, maybe. Anyway, I like it. It's pretty. I like the fabric. I like the pattern. Whoops. Sewing machine's coming off here. And I want it. I want it stitched and in my house. I suppose that's really why all of us do that. The next whip that I have is this one called Hands. It's a Vervaco kit. Daddy, Mama, and Baby. And I haven't worked on it anymore since the last time I showed it to you, which was months ago. And I have to reorient myself every time I look at it to see. I think this is right side up. Who knows? It will take me a while to get back into this one when I start working on it, because I don't even know the up from the down. That's pretty bad. I suppose it will happen. It will come to me. The Beekeeper. The Beekeeper, I was one of those that I started and had to take out and restart. Looks like this. But I love it, and I'm determined to do it. And I've only done a tiny little bit and decided I was going to have to grid, so I started a little gridding on it and didn't even get back to the gridding. But that's on my list as well. This one is I Bring Thee Joy. Can't see that. You're not going to be able to see that much. And I'm doing this on a slate blue. I love it. But it is Christmas, so again, I have plenty of time to get to this one. Oh, one of my very favorites, the Loose Feathers series. I'm working on Summer. Sorry, there we go. And I just love this piece. I just love it. And this is where I am on this one. My friend Judy in Tulsa sent me these patterns and that needle minder. So I always think about her when I'm stitching on this one. One of these days I'm going to go to Tulsa to go to the Silver Needle and get to visit with Judy. We've not met yet, but we're going to. Cornwall Cottage Sampler by Rosewood Manor. Looks like this. Again, it's such a beautiful, beautiful pattern. Have a little stitch along group that's working on that, only none of us seem to be working on that right now. This is how far I've gotten on this one. And Heaven and Nature Sing. Kathy Barrick. Several of these are Christmas, aren't they? I keep saying I have plenty of time, but you know how that is. You'll turn around and you won't have plenty of time. I have a headless deer. But really, that's the hardest part of this stitch. So the hardest part of this is over. The next parts of this one are going to be all fun. And I think this might be the last one. This one is called Woodland Piece. It's a Leisure Arts piece. I don't know where my pattern is. It looks like that. And I'm doing it in red, and I have a huge, huge start on this one, y'all. Huge. There you go. You can tell a lot about that one, can't you? Okay, let's see. How many is that in this little bag that I have here? Did I get them all? I think that's all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Only 14, and that's because I finished Bessie. I have 2 things lying on top of that bag where I have my whips, because these are the next 2 I want to start. These are kitted up and ready to go. Hello Winter. I have this whole series. There are 4 of them, but Hello Winter's the one I'm going to start next. And then I finally got my fabric for Baby It's Cold Outside. Lots of y'all have stitched this one. I saw, I know Michelle Rudy did, and I saw Michelle at the Striped Rose finished hers too. And it's so pretty. I chose fabric, a 28 count Oaken. This is what it looks like. That's what I'm going to stitch that on. Lots of variation in that one. I think I'm going to like it. So, those are my whips plus 2 kitted up and ready to begin. Whew. I never thought I'd make it this long without having to stop. I have also signed up for a class, a punch needle class. I told y'all I wanted to start punch needle. I bought the hoop, I bought the needle, I bought some patterns, and I was at my LNS first part of the month when I had a dentist appointment in Little Rock. That's where I go, and that's where my LNS is. And she was advertising a punch needle class on January 27th, a Saturday. So I've signed up for that. And hopefully all of this crud will be gone and I'll be able to do that. I'm so excited about it, I can hardly wait. I have also signed up for some retreats. I really don't fly much anymore for a variety of reasons, and some health and some others. And I badly wanted to go to Newark, but I am not going to do that. It's just too far for me. I am, however, going to go to Midwest Stitchers in Minnesota in May and in October. I've signed up for both of those. That's a perfect one for me because my sister's house is exactly halfway between here and there. so I can drive to my sister's and spend the night and go on the second day and be able to rest. Um, because traveling long distances like that are just not easy as you get older. I'm certainly capable. I can drive it and I'll be fine. I'm also going to StitchCon in June, which is in Cincinnati, um, and I'm excited about that one as well. My route between here and there is going to take me through um, Kentucky and some areas that I haven't been to in a while, and I'll stop and spend the night halfway. I did that when I went to Sevierville, Tennessee, to that retreat last fall. I hope to get to go back to Sevierville this fall, and Katrina Boyd, who runs that retreat, is also going to have one in Memphis, which is only 3 hours from me. So I believe that one's in September. I'm going to try to go to that one as well. I have some other things that kind of, as most of us do, life can interfere. Jerry and I have for years been long-term volunteer missionaries in South Louisiana, and we are contemplating going back there for a little bit shorter. We've gone sometimes for 6 weeks, sometimes for 2 months, as long as 4 months at a time, and that's too long for me anymore to be away from my home and my family. But we're going to look at maybe doing that next year for a period of time, maybe a month or something like that. So I'll have to kind of work around my retreats because I don't want to interfere with any of those. I have, that's really about all my plans. I'll show you my kitted up things next time. I said that already. I'm repeating myself as older people do. I'm going to try to show you some of the things in my sewing room and how I have them organized. This room, and you may get a little seasick when I do this. This was the smallest bedroom in our house. It still is the smallest bedroom, and I took it as a sewing room. And I've had to really rig some things up because the light is terrible in here. First of all, it's all knotty pine paneling, which I didn't want to take down at the time. I now wish that I had, but it's far too much trouble at this point because of all the shelving and stuff that we've put up. My husband put up shelving. He put up styrofoam for me to have a design wall. He put up pegboard. And like I said, I have so much stuff from too many crafts, and everything is really quite full. These shelves, well, I can't orient this thing. Okay, these shelves, those wire baskets, I've shown those before, I think. Those were all, here, I need to get out of that picture. Gym baskets, remember from high school when you would go to gym? And those all have fat quarters in them. Yes, all of them. Fat quarters. Well, there might be some wool in one of them or something like that. Pegboards that are above my ironing area. These are just kitchen cabinets from Lowe's. I do have a granite countertop on there because I found a scrap piece of granite that somebody gave me for $10 one time. And then my ironing surface is an old hollow core door that we cut the ends off of, I think, and I covered with batting and fabric. So all of my ironing stuff is right there. And I have a file cabinet where my television is, and I have patterns and quilt tops that need to be finished and Christmas stuff and so forth, all in there. And then above the doors here, I have quilt battings, quilt tops that need to be quilted, some quilts, a few things like that. Okay, I'm going to try to move around a little bit, y'all. The light's going to be terrible because that window's behind me. Thread holder. Let's see if I can get this. These are cubbies from Lowe's. I have quilt books. I need to back up. Sorry, y'all. And I keep, let me go down this way. Yeah, that's better. Little plastic bins. Those hold buttons and beads and pom-pom trim, all the trim things I need to finish things out. And the top of that is my cutting table. We took cubbies, 1, 2, 3 cubbies. Jerry bolted them together, put casters on the bottom, and made me a rolling cutting table. The other side also has plastic bins that have things like elastic, Velcro, zippers, so forth, all those kind of things in. Then I have a closet for fabric and other things. I have a lot of other things stored in there, like fleece and my sergers in there. This closet, remember me telling you that I had another hobby. I like to dehydrate food. I like to can. So a lot of my dehydrated stuff is in this closet, along with pillow forms and off-season pillows. And then down here, I have drawers where I have ribbon and lace and other kinds of trim, along with my stretcher bars and I don't have a roll of frame. Frames, lap frames and that sort of thing. Okay. Underneath in those cabinets, I have one is, I don't remember. I know I have all of my different throw pillows and table runners and things like that, seasonal things together. I have all my Valentine's stuff in one, and I have summer in one and fall in one and so forth. So they're all stored away there where I try to keep things out of the light, except for those fat quarters up there. And I have so many of those, and they have to be stored somewhere. And I just finally gave up and said they're just going to have to be out. If they fade along the seams, some of them might, some of them won't. I really just use those for finishing things. They certainly could be used for quilts, but I don't make big quilts anymore, so I just, somewhere I had to sacrifice. The design wall, I forgot to show you that. Let's see. Some unfinished things. And some things that are in progress. This is an embroidered quilt that I made 4 of the blocks out of the 12 and quit on it. And can't decide whether I want to finish it or whether I can't really do embroidery anymore, y'all. After the hand surgery, this finger, which has a plastic joint right there, it does not move any more than that. And so to hold with the thimble, to manipulate that needle is very difficult for me. So embroidery is not pleasant anymore. Cross stitch is fine because I don't use that finger for it. But it's just the embroidery that I seem to have trouble with. So that's probably out. I can't see that changing anymore. We've done all the physical therapy that we can do on that, and it's just the scar tissue in there has built up that keeps it from closing all the way. So I think that's all that I have to say, and I'm out of breath, so it better be all I've got to say. Other than, I hope you all had a wonderful holiday. I'm sorry it took me so long to get back. I'm looking forward to the new year. I'm looking forward to the retreats. Um, Thank you so much for your gifts, for your thoughts, for your prayers. I love this community. I love so many of you. So I would love every single one of you to be able to come and have a glass of iced tea with me and sit and stitch for a while. I realize that's not a doable kind of thing, but wouldn't it be fun if every day you could have a different friend come and stitch with you? That would be heaven. I think maybe when I get to heaven, that's what it's going to be. So, thank you so much. I hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.